Prem Sabolo Shri Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Sitaram devotees, Swagatam. Welcome back to Sooryoday with yours truly, Pandit Shiva Janak Maharaj. What a beautiful day it is here in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. As devotees, we all know that, I hope you have enjoyed in whatever way you would have celebrated the Shiva Janak Ashtami on Tuesday night, dear devotees. Whether it be you visited your mandir, keeping your social distancing and protocols, COVID protocols observed, or if you enjoyed at home taking part with the many virtual services that we would have had. And having spent that time, Shiva Janak Ashtami, Tuesday gone, their devotees, on the 11th, then on Wednesday, or we can say that midnight hour actually started Wednesday. So on Wednesday, the 12th, dear devotees, was another international day. It was the International Day of Youth. And the International Day of Youth is recognized and is celebrated or observed during this entire month of August. And it says here, dear devotees, that in 1999, the General Assembly endorsed the recommendation made by the World Conference of Ministers responsible for youth, and they dubbed August 12th as the International Day of Youth. And the whole reason why they had a focus on youth is the International Day of Youth gives an opportunity to celebrate the mainstream young people's voices, actions, initiatives, as well as their meaningful, universal, and equitable engagement in, and they said it also took the form to be hosted by youths worldwide, their devotees. And in this way, their devotees, it is that the 12th of August is known as International Day of Youth, and it is observed for the entire month. This year, 2020, theme, Youth Engagement in Global Action. And what basically the theme wants, Youth Engagement in Global Action, seeks to highlight the ways in which the engagement of young people at the local, national, and global levels are enriching the national multilateral institutions and processes, as well as draw lessons on how their representation and engagement in formal institutional politics can be significantly enhanced. So they're looking at the involvement of youths, their devotees, especially in decision-making positions, politically and otherwise in other institutions. However, our scriptures, their devotees, we have, and I have, just seen this and noted some of the youths and the motivation and the inspiration they would have had in being part of the greater society. And we just celebrated Shri Shiva Janak Ashtami on Tuesday gone. And today, dear devotees, I like to make reference to that time in Govardhan Katha, dear devotees, when we know that Maharaj Nanda Baba, he was planning to have this Maha festival, this feast, to pray to Indra Baba and all the other, holy ones, the spiritual leaders. They were all preparing to do this, their devotees. And what happened? Little Bhagwan Shri Krishna, they are about 7 years of age, youthful, exactly. He gave them advice, their devotees. And he advised them, we won't go into the katha, but the king and the ruler and all the spiritual leaders, point being, they took his advice and they discontinued the puja for Indra Devata and they performed the Govardhan Puja. See, their devotees? So the youths do have a voice according to the Hindu scriptures, their devotees, according to our citations that we can say. The youths have a voice, and that voice can influence even the leaders. We have to listen to them sometimes, their devotees. That's so. And so this is where let us now pause for this beautiful selection, Govardhan Puja, after being advised that they should desist and stop immediately the puja for Indra Baba, and that they should perform Govardhan Puja. They all did so. So in this beautiful video, we will see all villagers, all leaders, all those in whatever way they joined in doing this puja for Govardhan Baba and Krishnji, their devotees. He led that change. So let us see and enjoy. Prem se bolo Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. Prem se bolo Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. Jai Sitaram devotees, Swagatam. Welcome back to Sooryoday with your truly Shiva Janak Maharaj. And that beautiful video there, as we discussed this morning, August 12th, the International Day of Youth, and we're looking at from our Hindu scriptures citations of how youths have been given a voice, and we should listen sometimes to our youths. And in that one you saw, all the leaders and everyone, the whole village, they made a change from the puja that they were accustomed doing because they listened to that young person. You see, wisdom does not come with age, dear devotees. And at the end of the day, who's to know how old the Atman or the soul, the real you is? And our scriptures tell us that, that Atman comes with the knowledge from even the previous life. And the Swami Vivekananda said in his, his speech in Chicago that, if you go back far enough, you can remember everything. Just there's something blocking there, devotees. Just as we speak different languages, when you're speaking in a certain language, you have no knowledge of the other language. Likewise, in this life, we live in this life, so we erase, so we don't have, but we can bring that memory back to the forefront. And this likewise. Swami Vivekananda ji, interestingly, that we celebrate International Day of the Youth on August 12th. However, January 12th, dear devotees, is also known as National Youth Day in India. And National Youth Day is celebrated on the 12th of January, the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda ji. Swami Vivekananda ji, here it has a citation on the 12th of January 2013, the former India's Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji, he told for the 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda ji, he said, what Gandhi ji said captures the great importance of spreading Swami Vivekananda's ideas and ideals among the youth in our country today. He personifies the eternal energy of the youth and their restlessness, their restless quest for the truth. It is extremely fitting that the government of India has declared the 12th of January as the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda as the National Day of Youth. And so Swami Vivekananda ji, it says here, as he says, he personifies the type of relentless search for truth and getting answers, dear devotees. And this is what we want our youths, when they have a voice, to have a truthful voice and to always seek that which is truth. And who influenced Swami Vivekananda ji, dear devotees? It is says here that one of his most famous sayings is that, give me 100 Nachiketa youths and I can change the world. The exact quote, dear devotees, said, give me 100 Nachikets and I will change the world. And he is referring to youths. Nachiket was a very young boy, and he is saying that that children and youth should have that same quest for knowledge as Nachiket did. And who is Nachiket and what did he do? We'll hear after this selection. Prem se bolo Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. Prem se bolo Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai ho. Beautiful there, in Telugu. However, their devotees, those on TV Jaagriti, you are seeing there young Nachiket, a young child, a youthful boy, speaking to Yamadevata. And that's what that selection was about. Yamadevata, their devotees. You see, a little katha because we don't have time to go into it this morning. However, his father one day became angry when the child was asking questions. So we're trying to learn here, dear devotees, when to listen to our youth and how we should speak to our youth. The child, they are inquisitive. Children always ask why, and that's how they learn. They ask questions. His father was irritated by the child asking questions. And the question pertained to yajna and giving your best. When you give charity, when you give dan, it must be of the best of what you have, dear devotees. And the child said, well, if you have to give of your best, I am your property. If you're giving away everything, who do you give me to? And the father, in his anger, he said, I give you to Yamadevta. And the child said, Tatastu, Pitaji, so be it. And he went to Yamadevta. When he went to Yamadevta, dear devotees, he waited for 3 days. Yamadevta, when he came, the child did not eat for those 3 days, waiting on Yamadevta to return home. And when he returned and he saw this child, he was so, amazed by this youth making such sacrifice that he gave him 3 boons. And the 3 boons that the child asked for, their devotees, were not for himself. He asked for Brahma Gyan. He asked for knowing things that can help others. And so in Katha Upanishads, that Katha gives us the conversation of Yamadevta and the knowledge that he gave to Nachiket, and that is recorded there for us to learn from. And the point is here why Swami Vivekananda, he liked that, and he said, give me 100 Nachikets and I can change the world. Why? Because Nachiket, he didn't ask for something for himself. He was a youth. He could have asked for a new PlayStation or latest games or whatever, but he didn't have to ask for that. He asked for knowledge, the ultimate knowledge. Why? Because he wanted to help others. And this is why it is said that Swami Vivekananda, the child was not bounded by his relations in his family. He did not live for himself and his family alone. He lived for everyone. This is what their devotees, is what Swami Vivekananda, this is what our youths have to instill into them. Don't live for selfish life, live for others, their devotees. So we have one more opposite that we should look at now, where the voice of the child is not listened to, that we will enjoy. After this next selection, we'll discuss as we look at this selection. Prem se bolo Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. प्रेम से बोलो श्री विष्णु भगवान की जय, श्री नरसिंह भगवान की जय हो. Jai Sitaram, dear devotees, Swagatam. Welcome back to Sooryoday, Thursday morning simulcast on radio and TV Jaagriti with your Shri Pandit Shiva Janak Maharaj. And this morning we are discussing the International Day of Youth. We are discussing the International Day of Youth. And the International Day of Youth is celebrated on the 12th of August. And this entire month, is given for the observance of youth and the involvement of youth in all aspects of society, and giving the youths a voice, their devotees. And we are looking at scriptures here and seeing where our youths can be given, where in our scriptures the youths were given the voice. And we saw where Bhagwan Shri Krishna Ji, as a child, he advised the entire village of what to do in terms of the Govardhan Puja. We also discussed that person in the form of Swami Vivekananda Ji and how very influenced he was by that of Nachiket Ji. Nachiket Ji, being also a child, he lived for everyone else and he did not live a selfish life, and he had a voice and was very respectful and very honorable. And so these children and these names we know, there are many others like Bhakta Dhruv, their devotees, and and in the video that you just saw, that child is Prahalad Ji. Prahalad Ji was a great leader. Prahalad Ji, from a young age, he taught the name of Narayan to each and every one. Of course, his father, his Pitaji, did not like that because he wanted to be the God, their devotees. And in that selection, in that song you saw, he given his father advice that you must have Vishwas in Bhagwan, and as long as you have trust in Bhagwan, he will always take care of you. And Bhagwan did take care of Prahalad ji, their devotees. So the example here we are seeing where father Hiranyakashipu ji, he did not take the advice of his child. And many parents today, we don't give a listening ear to our children. We don't listen to their good advice. The children might be saying, Pa, mother, father, please stop drinking. Please stop smoking. Please, stop doing drugs. Please, break your bad habits. Please do good things, dear devotees. Sometimes we don't listen to the voice of our children. Children are very, very intelligent sometimes, and they may think of things that you may, not foresee. So we should give them a listening ear. A very good example, sometimes, you're reading something, you're on your phone or your newspaper, and the child comes to speak to you and you brush them off or you don't take them on, and this, dear devotees, sometimes in that same news or whatever you're looking at, you might see your child there because you're not listening to them, you're not giving them an ear. And this is what we learn from in this Katha of Prahalad ji being a youth who was very influential, very intelligent, very smart, yet his father, in this case, didn't choose to listen to him, dear devotees. And of course, that brought the end of him when Narsingh Bhagwan came and took his life there. So, as we celebrate youth this week, as we celebrate youth this month, our SEA children have their exams next week, Thursday. God, we hope that everything goes well and that they get to finally get that out of the way. However, next week we'll have our special programming for them to give them that blessing. So tune in next week, Thursday, for that, dear devotees, where we have a special programming to energize them, mantras and so forth for their success. It's pretty early here on Sooryoday. If you're up, you listen. Of course, parents who are very anxious and up, get up and pray for your children. We have those special mantras to the deities to bless them next week on Sooryoday before their exams. However, and we also invite you all, before we leave, to our virtual services. We have switched the Suri Village Shiv Mandir. We are taking our precautions and we have switched to our full virtual services right here on TV Jaagriti from 7 to 9 a.m. every Sunday, as well as anytime at your convenience, any day, you can view on our social media. Just look on Facebook or YouTube for Suri Village Shiv Mandir, dear devotees. It's always down at the bottom of the screen there. You can see our handles for our Facebook and YouTube channels where you can view that virtual service. We must take care of ourselves and be very safe, dear devotees. We are going to provide it. TV Jaagriti, Radio Jaagriti, we are providing everything that you need so that you can keep yourself and your family safe and still continue to pray as we pray for ourselves, our family, and the entire world, dear devotees. So as we bring a close to this morning program, we pray, Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaye Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.